Speaking Human.
This week on Speaking Human, we talk about the $1 billion bite Apple just took out of Samsung, discuss the infectious internet virus that is Call Me Maybe, and we review the zombie marketing war AMC has waged against Dish Network.
Speaking Human.
Welcome to Speaking Human, the official podcast of Monsters Unlimited. I'm Shad Conley, Communications Director at Monsters Unlimited, and with me, as always, is
Patrick Jebber, Creative Director at Monsters Unlimited.
So for those of you who haven't listened to the podcast before, here's how we do it. We kick off each week by sharing our vital views on the latest mortal marketing news, then unleash the fury of our superhuman review. This week, we're reviewing AMC's anti-Dish undead marketing campaign. So let's get right into it, Patrick.
All right, so Apple's patent victory over Samsung. What do you think about that?
Big news. It's big news. It's everywhere you look. There's something about Apple coming out on top.
Yeah, it's a controversy for a lot of people, especially people who are not Apple fans, or at least people who don't really buy into the all Apple ecosystem.
Yeah, well, there's the Apple heads, and then there's the Apple haters.
Yeah, it's weird how that works, you know? It's like you either really love it, or possibly you even hate it.
Well, it's like you have to be one or the other. You know, you're in one camp or the other camp. You know, personally, I'll tell you, I'm kind of torn on it. I don't know, just because I don't know exactly what it means. You know, part of me is like, well, you took Apple's technology. It's kind of obvious to anybody because, you know, when the iPhone came out, I mean, there was nothing like it. There was nothing like it out, but now everything's like it. Coincidence? But then the other side of me is like, isn't that kind of how technology evolves? You know, people take something somebody else did, put it into this, mix it with that. I mean, isn't everything sort of a culmination of different things, especially with technology?
Yeah, I mean, to say that one thing looks like another and that you stole it and you stole the design, that's big. I mean, especially when you're talking about design, you know, I mean, as creative professionals here, you know, we would look very highly on people to steal our work or to use it and say that it was theirs. And so I understand where Apple's coming from. You know, I mean, they came out, you know, flip phones were still being used. I mean, nobody had a smartphone yet. And people who did, they were nothing like they are now. Apple took it to the next level, and I really feel like I understand where they're coming from, only because from a design and creative professional's opinion, you know, you don't want somebody to take your stuff.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know, in my mind it seems it's not really even a question, did they? They even said what took us years, you know, they came out with in 3 months. The big question is in most of the articles and everything, you know, sort of what does this verdict mean for consumers? Will Samsung phones still be for sale? Will they be more expensive? What will happen to the technology? I'd like to think that people will become more innovative because of it. You think of all the things you could do with a cell phone, and all the cell phones are kind of stuck inside this little box, and always have been. You know, they were all flip phones. Now they're all touch screens, and they all kind of do the same stuff. You know, when you think of all the possibilities, everybody's just kind of like stuck inside these lines, and it seems like nobody's going outside of that.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that have hurt consumers is that it's exactly like you said. You know, there'll never be innovation if people aren't forced to innovate. You know, you can just play it safe all the time if you want to.
Yeah, you need a challenge to come up with a creative solution, I guess.
Yeah, from a consumer standpoint, I think it's really going to help consumers because Samsung is going to, and these other companies are going to be forced to do something different, you know, and hopefully it will be better. It'll force Apple then to up the bar in terms of their design decisions, and it'll make them more innovative.
It takes a push, it takes a shove in order to get things rolling. But when you have companies fighting other companies to try to be the first one to do this or do that or provide something new, it's when you have what you'd call true innovation. Anything else on Apple you want to share? Patrick, I'm surprised you kept your Apple love under control that whole time.
It's not like me, is it?
No, it's not. I was impressed.
Just keep my love for Apple under wraps on that one and be unbiased during our Monsters podcast.
Let's move on to our next story. Do you want to introduce this one, Patrick?
Yeah, I don't know if you've heard of this song, Call Me Maybe, the music video.
Kind of underground, so it might not be out to everybody yet.
This thing has blown up, and I can't really... I'd heard the song on the radio because my daughter, who is 5, loves this song. But the first time that I realized that it went viral was when I saw my wife. I came home one day and she had the video playing of the softball team dancing in their van. And then the Olympics came around and the Olympic swimming team did their own version of this music video. You know it's big when you've got a bunch of people who are spreading this around. They have no, obviously, connection with the singer or,
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's not like this is music company forced. I mean, this is a completely organic cult of tributes across the web. I feel like it owns YouTube. Justin Bieber and his friends did a video of themselves lip syncing to it, and then hundreds of fan tributes followed, and that's sort of how the song got its initial popularity.
If you got Justin lip syncing to it, you know you've hit success.
Let me ask you this though, Patrick. Do you think the song would be a hit if it wasn't for you take social media and YouTube and all that stuff out of the equation?
I don't think it would have been as big. It's a way for people to express themselves, you know? And social media changes so often. I'm a big believer that every, I don't know, year, maybe year and a half, we go through this cycle, this change in how people consume and then also use social media. Facebook was much bigger within the last 6, maybe 7 months. But if you look at some of the numbers right now, Facebook's actually down in monthly user visitors. And I don't think that's an indication that it's failing or anything. It's just people are consuming the media and they're using it differently. You know, like, how can I express myself? Well, instead of going on and posting a photo or a video of my family, we're going to do something fun and we're going to post a fun viral video of us singing this song that's really popular on the radio. You know what I mean?
People love music. People love sharing on the internet. Those two things go together pretty well. Talk a little bit about brands and why being human matters in marketing. There's been a couple articles about this lately. The idea that with social media and the rise of the internet and customer communications and connections all being increased, the customer and the company are now closer than ever before. That a brand needs to have a personality. You need to not just have a good product or service. You need to be unique and have that sort of voice as you talk to people. That's sort of a human, as if it were a person talking to them. Companies are now taking on the traits of humans, which is a lot about what we're actually talking about on this podcast. What are your thoughts on that, Patrick? Does a brand need a personality?
Absolutely. It's really important having a personality. Yeah, I mean, it's in marketing, right? You try to stand out. You try to have a voice.
Now that there's conversations happening online, people are, you're sharing images. A company has a Facebook page. Things have changed a little bit. You do need that kind of voice. But I'd also argue, we're talking about brand personality like it's, unique or new thing. When essentially, good branding for good companies, that's always been there. I think the idea now, what's different is putting that voice to it. The human aspect is you actually have to have conversations with people in their language, so they understand it. Speaking human, if you will. And I think that's what's changed.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, the internet's forced people to speak human. I mean, really, when websites first came out and people were, I need to be online. People were very corporate. They didn't, they wanted to have that very polished feel to their brand. And while that's all well and good, to communicate your message and your vision and everything, over time, with social media and how popular it's become, people want you to talk with them instead of to them.
Communicating honest. That's more what people are looking for now than I think. Like a product, even a company they can get behind.
Right. What all brands are really trying to achieve is they're trying to create that relationship and build it and build trust with your customers. They're going to stand behind you and they're going to be loyal to you because they want to see you succeed just as much as you want to help them, whether it's a product or a service that you sell. You're trying to help customers in the end. You're trying to help people.
Yeah. And the good part of it is, the companies who aren't authentic or they're in it for a quick buck and have no interest in their companies, hopefully, the future is they're on the way out.
Hopefully. Being human, it matters.
And now it's time for our featured
review. AMC has waged a war against Dish Network. AMC and Dish Network, their contract expired. AMC wanted to bundle their different channels IFC and We and Sundance. Well, Dish Network said, no, we don't want that. We want to just give individual choices to our customers. But AMC basically came in, and because they have such a popular lineup of successful shows, The Walking Dead, Breaking Bad, Mad Men, they basically said, we're going to use our popularity of these shows and put some hurt on Dish Network and make them feel some pain.
Yeah,
So
they did not let them off easy.
no, I mean, and I could be wrong. I don't think anybody sympathizes with Dish. I mean, they're more angry with Dish than they are with, because that's the way people look at it, that it's Dish's fault. Dish better do something soon because, there's a lot of angry customers out there.
They're using their, marketing and promotions for these shows to also take jabs at the Dish Network. And this has been especially prominent in their Walking Dead promos, campaigns, print ads, online.
And isn't it available on cable and satellite, not on Dish?
Oh yeah, they have it. I'm looking right now at one of their promos was an idea. They're playing off zombies in the presidential campaign. So they have a zombie for president, and he's wearing a pin that says that's Dish with a Ghostbusters slash through it. So everything they have, it's on their website. If you go to any of these shows pages, they're not hiding it. They're putting it up front that on their website they say, call Dish, make them get this channel. So it's not subtle. They're really just putting it in there. So it's almost like it's a dual marketing campaign. They're in one sense, promoting their new show, and in another, banging on Dish.
The zombies video that they posted in New York, I couldn't tell you how many people I heard talk about that in the last couple of weeks. That's one of those viral videos, a lot like Call Me Maybe, right? That's taking hold.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, but I like the way that they've used that real world from the AMC, that like the president, a zombie for president, and they're protesting.
So what do you think of this whole idea in general? Using your marketing, bad mouth or push against another company.
Well, as a business owner, I would shy away from something like that. I wouldn't do that, whether it was a client or a customer or whatever.
It's more burning a bridge than, because isn't there a possibility they could have come to some resolution and now you're kind of like, ugh.
Well, you think that, but then the entertainment industry is so strange that I feel like this is that one exception. They can basically force them back into doing business with them just from public demand. They don't really, in this case, though, they don't really care about Dish Network. And they're pretty much making their stance as, hey, we don't really care about you. We care about the people who are watching us. And if you don't carry us, we're going to make you look really bad.
It's a risky move.
Absolutely. I mean, I would think it is, but again, entertainment industry is so strange, and when it comes to this type of thing, they could put the pressure on them and force them into making them buy from them.
Yeah, I mean, you get enough people who want that, you can certainly do that. I'm actually on the AMC website right now. I'm on the Breaking Bad page, and they have, last episode on Sunday, available on cable and satellite, not available on Dish. Then there's a Get AMC button. I click on it, and it takes you to a page that says in big letters, Dish customers, you have lost.
Oh, wow.
And then it says, take action, call this number, or find a provider who carries it. Yeah, that's pretty aggressive.
And I think there will be people who actually choose to switch because they don't carry AMC. Maybe I'm coming out of a contract with a provider, or maybe they've done a few other things that have really made me angry, like bad service or whatever. But the circumstances are right. They could drive people away from this provider, and that's something Dish, if they haven't really taken it seriously, they should be.
The thing that bothers me about this is I feel like everything now is so anti. I'm actually kind of anti. I can't say it's not entertaining. But this idea, there's a little bit of ugliness inside there.
Oh, yeah. I like AMC, and I like their shows. And
yeah, I like the shows.
I don't really have to worry about it because I don't have Dish, but, there are people who can't watch that show who did for a long time, and now they have to find another solution, whether it's they're buying it on iTunes, not an Apple plug, or some other means. That sucks for a consumer. I know I wouldn't be happy with it, so.
Well, let me tell you one more quick thing before we wrap up here. Let me tell you, Dish's response to this is pretty poor. Dish said that, their customers in rural demographics don't watch AMC.
Yeah. I'd be surprised if there wasn't customer backlash from that.
It's a poor statement. I don't know. I wonder if you're going to see Dish start fighting back soon.
I think in the end, it doesn't really matter, right? It matters that they work it out so that the consumer wins in the end, you know?
Oh, exactly. Well, I think that should about do it. You want to do a final verdict here, Patrick? Do you have anything?
I very rarely give 5 humans, although this is still a very new podcast. We might find something that might be worthy of 5 humans, but I'll give it 4. I like it. I think it's a good campaign.
Probably give it 3 humans. I do like the zombie marketing, and I think it's bold, but at the same time, there's a little part of it that makes me uncomfortable. So I'm not totally for it. But I'd be interested to see how it plays out, I think.
I don't like that this campaign makes you uncomfortable, man. We should really do our part to try to make you more comfortable.
I want to be comfortable.
That's it for this week. You can find links to most of the topics we discussed today on our blog, thinkmonsters.com/stomp, or on our Facebook page, facebook.com/thinkmonsters. You can also email us with any feedback, questions, or topics you'd like us to discuss on the show at podcast@thinkmonsters.com. We'll be back next Monday and every Monday with more marketing chatter. Catch you next week, humans.
Have a good week.
Speaking human.